Alright guys, so today we're gonna get started. The reason for this video is I need you to see how you would go about getting everything that you might need, just in case you might have any questions on how we achieve certain little bits that might be a bit tricky for beginners, certain ways that you might not have discovered, where you could just borrow let's say this image, for example, just for learning purposes, which should only be for learning purposes. You should always use your own photos. There's loads of places where you could buy stock photography, um, or you could take pictures of your own, but you should never use other people's copyrighted material. Okay, now that out of the way, we're going to borrow some of Apple's stuff. So first of all, I'm using an iMac, so I'm also using Chrome. So with Chrome, you're able to inspect element. I can't do it in Safari for some reason. Yeah, just gonna leave it at that. So here we have Apple's logo. So you could see the way they've set it up, in that they're using a background image, and that background image is a SVG, a scalable vector graphic, which is sort of like type, which means you could blow it up as big as you want, and it would not lose, it would not pixelate. You would always see it crisp and sharp, because it's a mathematical thing. So that's as much as I know about it. All I know is that you should be using it for your logos, now that there's Web 2.0. So we're not going to exactly download this image, because there's nothing we could do with it. We probably could download it and use it, but there's no point. What we could do is, to get that logo, we could just copy the link address and just use it in an image, or use it in a background image, just like Apple did. So that one we don't need to download, and because you don't need to keep the Apple logo in the first place, so you could just borrow it by just linking to it from the Apple website. Any other icons, it's the same. So here you could see it's the search icon. All of these you could just link to those, and so you could just copy it and just paste it somewhere if you like. But since we have the website open, we could always just inspect and just copy it when we're at this point. So there's no need to worry too much about downloading it on your system. Okay, so same for the image. So you could see Apple's image here. It's a background image. I think they keep background images because I think they might have more control over it. Also, okay, they have more control over it, especially with different browser sizes and the way that their carousel, their slider shows. You could see the effect of it shrinking in the back. So that's sort of easier to do with CSS when that effect is being done. Okay, so you could see it shrinking. Okay, so you could always, same thing here, you don't need to download them. You could just copy the link and borrow the link, just for our purposes. Okay, so, and the same goes for all of these, guys. The same goes for all of these. You don't have to download the pictures, but if you want to, I'll just show you how you can do that. So you could, if you want to download this one, the same thing, you copy the link address, you come here, you paste it in, okay, and you just save image as, and you save it to your working folder. Yeah, but you don't, because it's not your image, you don't have to keep it. You could use any other image. We're using this one um, just because the image has a lot to do. You won't believe, but the images has a lot to do with an interface, guys. It's sometimes an image could make or break the site. In this case, Apple always has nice gray, light, white space images. You could tell all of that works in in favor of the design and the overall brand of Apple. That's why they always have nice pictures like this. So that's why we're going to be using the exact same pictures, because if I use my own pictures, it might not be in touch with the whole Apple brand, and I don't think you will get the full satisfaction of trying to replicate exactly the Apple feel. Maybe in your personal projects, you could take some inspiration from there and try to get achieve your own style of UI branding, and try to get a nice clean look without essentially copying from Apple. The idea is to be inspired and not pretty much copy exactly, but just try to use this information as a guide. So if you let's say your site is dark themed, then you could understand maybe the images or the way the text is laid out on the white. Maybe you could use some of the same sizing but in a different color. There's so many things, so many ways you could work around that. But as far as resources go, if you need, especially if you need to know, for example, to get a better look, it's not something you could really eye out. You might think this is black, but I think this is a bit, it's black, but it's transparent black. So you could tell, you could look in the inspector here and see that the background here, okay, you could see that it's zero point 0.8, which means that it's 80% transparent. Transparent, or yeah, it's 80% transparent. And if we were to bump that up to 1, yes, you see it's completely black. Okay, so all these little things make the whole experience of the website a bit better, because it also plays in with the sliders. So nothing is by itself. Everything plays in to one another on the page. Um, so if you need to know stuff like the font size, there again, same thing. You could come here and take a look at everything. You could take a look at everything here. So you could tell that the positions and everything, how they go about it, font size and everything. Um, Everything is there, but we won't be copying it to the T like that. We're gonna try our best to eye it out, and try to get a sense of what looking good feels like. When you put the padding around it, you should be like, well, it feels like it's right there, like the space in between, it's in harmony with everything that's around it. The space horizontally and the space vertically works really well. All the text is in line and perfect with each other. All the icons and the text work well together, and the whole overall thing just looks appealing to the eye. So that also helps you get a perspective on how design, a little bit of design theory here. If you That's the best thing, is to just copy beautiful designs. There's loads of beautiful designs. I think at the end of the screencast, I'm going to some of the resources I might give is other sites that I think that are great, some great inspirational sites. I might do that in between the videos as well. If you drop a comment, if you have any suggestions that I should put out there, or list your favorite sites in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to check that out. And at the end, I'm going to ask you if you need me to design any of those, help you design any of those, how you get these looks. So This is my first time copying the Apple logo, so at least you get to see all the steps that I come up with, how I solve a few problems, the ways I go about getting stuff, like the color, the background color. I could probably guess that's a FA. Okay, it's F2, but normally Apple's light logos go from F5, F5, F5. That's like a light gray, and F2 and F0. So they use a lot of light grays, a lot of shades of gray, and a lot of subtle dark points and bright points that, it's not necessarily just plain white, it's not necessarily just gray. So you can see they play a little with the little shadows and the little bright spots here and there. So it's not all just, black and white, so to speak. Okay, now we know how we would go about getting all the answers that we might not be able to just eye out. Like, we might not be able to just guess exactly how big this is, but we will get there. We know how to get resources from sites to just borrow, and at the same time, you'll be able to know how to put in your own resources when we get down to the HTML and CSS portions of creating this particular website. And if you follow me in other tutorials that I might have in the future, you get to build upon these key skills there. Alright guys, the next tutorial we're going to be working on the nav bar or the header, where we're going to be putting in this Apple logo and all the menu links and the iconography, and we're going to see if we could get it to look exactly the same. And you could see that also these two have changed because I think it's probably randomly generated. Well, it's not randomly generating. I think it's probably using some sort of cookie thing that makes, when you refresh it, for it to just change and just flip around. So every time you load, you pull up, it just shows a different. It just alternates between these two actually. We will be going into all of that, so you don't have to worry about it. Alright guys, so hopefully you're looking forward to our navbar tutorial next, and be sure to like and subscribe, and keep your notifications on for my next video. Thank you for watching this one.